What's up, everybody? You're watching Spectre React, your favorite channel for reviews, reactions, and theories.
And today we'll be reviewing WandaVision Episode 4.
So, without further ado, here we go.
Okay, so this was an action-packed episode. First thing we see, Monica Rambeau is being blipped. She finds out right after that her mother has passed, 5 years have gone by, and Thanos basically robbed her of the 5 years that she could have spent with her mother. She bounces back extremely fast though, and we see her right after that at Sword headquarters, and she meets with her director, played by Josh Stamberg. Something isn't right with this character, and we're going to get right to that at the end in our crazy segment, so stay tuned. Um, there's something wrong with this guy.
So, I'm wondering where the hell was Sword this entire time? Because they're an agency that's based in space, but you're telling me they just watched Thanos pull up in Sanctuary and they didn't really do anything about it? Like, they're clearly not doing their job, or they're just ineffectual.
Yeah, or maybe they got a boost in funding right after Thanos attacked. Who knows? I'm glad they're here, though.
Yeah, me too. Better late than never. Now, one thing I'd like to note is that no one really remembers Westview, even though its sister town, Eastview, exists. So maybe we might get an answer to that. Maybe whoever is creating this Westview illusion, be it Wanda or someone else, is like kind of masking people's memories of this town to draw attention away from it.
Yeah, I assume so. Monica, the only reason Monica is sent in is because the new director is basically trying to get rid of her. Again, something's wrong with this guy. Monica sent on a useless mission, almost to get her out of the way. And she meets Agent Jimmy Woo. Jimmy Woo is the guy from Ant-Man 2. He's the FBI agent, and he does this really cool magic trick that he learned from Scott in the movie. I really like that because it shows a connection to the MCU, whereas the rest of the episodes, no offense to the rest of the episodes, they've been sort of detached. I don't know if you feel the same way.
Yeah, they're not as connected to the MCU as we're used to seeing, but I'm glad that that subtle comedy, that quipping between the characters, is back in this episode with no laugh track required. It's just a nice callback to the MCU movies that we all know and love.
So I predicted this was going to be a flashback episode, and I'm just going to take a quick little moment to gloat because everyone doubted that this was going to be a flashback episode. I'm glad it's here. This, in my opinion, should have been a little bit earlier in the game. Um, it would have given me more context, but this is the episode in which I finally care about this show completely. Like I'm now invested in this show.
Yeah, me too. It's nice to see that we're finally getting some answers to our questions in previous episodes. And I really think this show has a lot of potential going forward for some just genuinely crazy events to transpire. Um, Speaking of familiar characters, Darcy Lewis from Thor and Thor 2 returns. And I like how Marvel is keeping this continuity going. Up until now, as we talked about, the episodes weren't really connected to the MCU. This really feels like it's a genuine part of the MCU, this episode. And congrats to her because she's now a doctor in astrophysics, presumably as a result of the events of Thor.
Yeah, that must have gotten her out of her other job. What was her other job again? I'm forgetting.
She was a political science major, so
That's
she
right.
definitely had a
That's right.
career
She was.
shift.
So great. Thor switched her up. There is apparently a signal that they're reading that's coming out of this force field or the town, which is a sitcom. And they have a lot of the same questions that we have. We see Jimmy's board, which I'm going to put up on the screen right now. So Jimmy Woo has a lot of the same questions that me and you have on our Google Docs. Did you notice that?
Yeah, he's like a fan theorist himself.
Yeah, why the hexagonal shape? Why sitcoms? And is Vision alive? So let's just talk about these for a quick minute. Hexagonal shapes probably because it's she has hex powers. Cool. That's just a cool little callback. Why sitcoms? I guess she's trying to have that family life that she never had, and she feels like sitcoms are something that she knows, so she's going through that. And is Vision alive? No, no. This is another part. This is almost cutting into my crazy theory segment. You know that scene, that terrifying scene that if you were watching at 3 a.m., you got scared and couldn't go to sleep for the next hour because you saw that hole in Vision's head after Thanos ripped that stone out? You saw Wanda see that? Yeah, I think that's really the Vision. That is the Vision that we're seeing, and she's trying to like somehow reboot him. It's something that's going on in there. But is Vision alive? I don't think so. I think she's just using her powers to make him alive. So back to Jimmy's board, they're basically counting the people who are accounted for from the sitcoms that they're watching. So everyone's accounted for except for Agatha and Ralph. So we know something's off with both of those characters. Another question is, who is the missing person? We know it's a he, so it might be Ralph since he's the only male member that we haven't met in the show yet.
Speaking of those two characters, we think that Agnes is actually Agatha Harkness, in part because Agatha Harkness from the comics was a witch from the Salem witch trials, which started on June 2nd. And we know that the Agnes character's wedding is on June 2nd. So maybe that's like a fun little connection they're doing to foreshadow this big reveal.
Yeah, that's very Marvel to do. I would expect nothing less from them. Uh, Monica, upon her return after getting like kicked out from the realm by Wanda, she gets out and she's just like lying on the floor and she says, "It's all Wanda." Honestly, she's probably wrong because, first of all, someone like Wanda doesn't just turn evil, especially because she's hurt. Like, it doesn't just happen. Something is affecting her. And number two, they're not gonna give the answer of who's the villain of the show in episode 4. Let's be real. Like, that's just not gonna happen.
Exactly. It's Marvel.
It's Marvel, yeah. On the other hand, I could be completely wrong, and then you guys can roast me in the comments later on.
This leads us into two crazy theories that have popped into our heads. Now, the first one is that even we thought Ralph was Mephisto or the devil, but Ralph might be the missing person that we've heard about because he's the only male we haven't seen on screen. And plus, if Jimmy had seen the missing person, he would have probably said something about it. Many are thinking that Ralph is the missing person and Mephisto at the same time. That's very possible, but it does raise the question, why the hell is the devil in witness protection? And yes, the pun was intended. That would totally be a cool way for the show to go.
Here on Spectre React, though, we try to go against the grain. Everyone thinks Ralph is Mephisto. We're going to go against that. We think Ralph was chosen by Mephisto since he knew the FBI would come looking for Ralph. He therefore sent Agnes to be Ralph's wife so she could control him. I'm saying this because I'm assuming that Agnes is Agatha, as we've said in the past. What if Monica's old pal, the sword director, is the real Mephisto, and he is pulling the strings in a plot to take Wanda's kids and potentially drive her to be even more insane? If you think about it, the director has been in a position to manipulate everyone. This would be the kind of mind blowing ending that the show has been teasing for a very long time. Anyways, let us know down below what you thought of these theories. Let us know what you thought of this episode in the comments. And as always, like, subscribe. It's a small click for you, but it means a lot to us. Thank you for watching, and peace.